I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. This is episode 552, and welcome. I'm so sorry for not being here last night. Really, what happens is after the Monday City Council meeting and the stress of getting that live streamed and the stress of all the chaos going on there and all the up and the down and the excitement and the high blood pressure and the dopamine and all the crap that happens, and then rushing home to do a live and just all of that stuff, it really just wreaks havoc on me. And then Tuesday evening, I was paying attention to the election results. We've not talked about elections here. We've not covered the elections here because Indiana doesn't have an election time. And just because we don't talk about them, just because we haven't covered a whole lot of it, doesn't mean I don't follow it and I don't understand what's going on. I don't pay attention to what's going on. It's all very, very, very important, and it's things that we definitely cover here when it's important. And we're going to talk about it a little bit this evening. Just kind of talk about what's happened yesterday elsewhere in the country, and maybe look at what it might mean for Indiana next year. Of course, we're in an off-year election this year here in Indiana. Thank God it's our break. They always say, I always think it's the weird way. They always say it's the fourth, that we run a 4-year election cycle. And they always start with midterms. I'm not like that. That's backwards. They start with midterms in Indiana. Then number 2 election year is the municipal, just what goes on in the cities and the towns. And then the number 3 is the presidential. And then the 4th, we rest. And I'm like, no. 0 year is the no election. And then midterms is 2. And then the municipal cycle is 3. And then we end with the big, crazy, exciting 4th presidential. I don't understand. I'm the only person in Indiana who's ever said it that way. Everybody else says it it's so backwards to me. It's exactly backwards. So it is what it is. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Before we get there, we do have some significantly local stuff to talk about here in the city of Muncie as it relates to the council meeting yesterday. Kind of a weird thing that I just noticed today, and it shocked me. I've got some shocked face going on. It's like, oh, that's what I looked like a little bit ago. I was going through my computer a little bit ago, and I was looking, and I was going, like that. It was crazy. Someone was by me. My mother was next to me, and she thought I was having a stroke. And I was like, it's kind of like that, but it's real crazy. So we'll talk about that. We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. But before we get to all of that, as always, I'm going to ask that you please give us a little bit of love. Share the love with us. Give us, show us as many thumbs as you can show us. Give us your thumbs. We love collecting thumbs over here, us and Ed Gein. I think he collects nipples, but whatever, it's all the same. I collect thumbs, so it's not that bad. Anyways, hit that like button, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. If you're here on Facebook, great, wonderful, welcome. We're glad that you're here. We would ask you at some point to find us on YouTube. You get a better experience there. You get a better community there, if that's something you're into. If you don't care, whatever. For those of you that are here via X, welcome. That's cool too. We love it. That would be great. So I got to see what Kate has sent me here. Looks like Kate might have sent me something exciting. I don't know. Oh, yes. I love it. Oh, you know what I did not do? I need to I love that, Kate. I need to share this. I need to share this a couple places. Give me a second. I did not do that. What? How? Here I thought that I was like well ahead of time doing everything that needed to be done. What is going on? Where did I put it? Hold on. Give me a second. Dude, what am I doing? What have I done here? Did I seriously not get it shared? Stand by. Yeah, that's it. What the hell's going on? Hold on, give me a second here. Let me make sure I did this the correct thing. Let me get this edited. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Do it like that. Okay, that's weird. Anyways, whatever. Let me get this shared here. Sorry. I thought I did this earlier. Groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, just one more second here. So while we're waiting to do this, I'll ask: did any of you paid attention to the election results yesterday? What were your thoughts of those election results? I mean, look, it wasn't good. Not very much good thing happened. Nothing good if you're someone looking for freedom, liberty, all of that kind of stuff. It maybe wasn't. Thank God I don't live in New York. I guess I'll say that. That's what we'll keep it there. Okay. We'll save that for the second half of the show. Before we get into that, however, I do want to go ahead and talk about what happened, what shocked me. I was looking on social media and I was looking through all the stuff and all the results and everything. And I noticed that I had not looked at the Star Press newspaper today. And so I decided to take a look at the Star Press newspaper today. And I was reading it, and I actually clicked on another article. And when I went to click on the home link, the front page of the newspaper of the Star Press, I was shocked. Listen to me. I was absolutely shocked. So on the Star Press, the very first, what they would call top of the fold headline on the Star Press paper. I'm going to pull this up here and let you see this. Yes, flabbergasted. Absolutely. Pull this up here and let you guys see this just for a moment, because I could not believe it. Couldn't believe it. And you're not going to believe it either. Right here. The very first headline article is an article written by Doug Walker, the man we've been talking about. And it's a Muncie City government article. Now, this is the second Muncie City article that the Star Press they've put out in the last 2 weeks, as we've been talking about them and really banging on them for the last 2.5 weeks. And I've been emailing them and phone calling them and sending anything up any way I could. And I started telling you guys to do that. And I started recommending people out there call and email. And I don't know if any of that's happened, but I will tell you that they've ran 2 Muncie articles. Now, the first article was the article that they ran about Ridenauer, the mayor of Muncie, talking about how wonderful he was and how wonderful it was that we were getting the Ready 2.0 grant and all this money to put up these apartments. And so it was a puff piece. So we're like, okay, well, you can write the puff piece. Star Press hasn't covered the city of Muncie in damn near a year. And the very first article they cover in like a year is the Ridenauer puff piece. Okay, so imagine my surprise when I refresh the newspaper and I click on the home of the newspaper and I see the first main article: Council begins process to replace Muncie Fire Station near Ball State. Well, the Ridenauer administration sees this as a plus, as a good thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm like, well, they're writing a puff piece. So let's go read this. Let's read this newspaper article and see what we think. See if this is in line with what you guys all witnessed and what we know to been true, because we listened to the meeting. We watched the meeting. And I'm going to tell you up front, it's pretty, they do a pretty, I mean, he does a pretty good job of just covering what happened, but it's just interesting. Plans underway to replace Muncie Fire Station near Ball State Hospital. Doug Walker, Muncie Star Press. Mayor Dan Ridenauer said negotiations are underway with the hospital to provide temporary housing of the station's firefighters and equipment. Ridenauer also said negotiations were ongoing about the possibility of Ball State and the hospital could help pay for the project. Now, that's what I want to see. I want to see them pay for the majority of this. I think they should. Okay. I know that Ridenauer's been talking to them, but I don't know. I think it's been about other things. I don't think it's been about paying. If they pay anything, it's going to be very, very minute. Okay. Muncie City Council has started the process of building a new fire station on the city's west side. At its meeting on Monday, November 3rd, the council voted 9-0 in favor of a financing resolution to begin the process of pursuing bonds for the replacement of Muncie Fire Station 5 at 600 North Tillotson Avenue. And then here's obviously a picture. Wonderful, great. The existing station, built in the mid-60s, would be torn down with the new station built at the same location. The West Side Station serves both Ball State University and IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital. Mayor Dan Ridenour said negotiations are underway with the hospital to provide temporary housing of the station's firefighters and equipment. Okay. Dennis Otten, the attorney with the Indianapolis law firm of Bose, McKinney, and Evans, the man that gets paid by the letter that he speaks, told the council that on Monday's resolution, this just authorizes the process to begin. The public hearings on the project will follow. Otten said up to $11.5 million might be pursued for the project. There were no suggestions on Monday's meeting that the station's replacement is not warranted given the facility's deteriorating condition. Everybody in the world knows that the station is needed. Nobody thought that the station wasn't needed at Station 6. The problem was, why was such a grand production needed? Like, did it truly need to be a $9 million building? Could we have saved money in the production of the first station? That was the question. The question was, what is our hurry? First off, they were trying to push it through during a lame duck council, with just like 2 months left. So it's like, wait a minute, just pause this and let the new council come in, let the new council make the decision. Okay. And so it's always right now we're trying to hurry. That's number one. Okay. So yeah, no one's going to say that this isn't warranted. Everybody believes that. One council member said the station is beyond its expiration date. I believe that too. Problems including both the building's sewage system and asbestos. Fire Chief Dan Burford said the layout of the new station would allow for an aerial truck to be assigned there. Most of Muncie's taller buildings at the hospital are at the hospital and university are nearby. Yada, yada, yada. Ridenour also said negotiations are ongoing about the possibility of Ball State and the hospital could help pay for the project. The resolution adopted at Monday had somewhat a convoluted history. Ooh. Now, is the paper really going to comment on this? Listen to this. The resolution adopted Monday had a somewhat convoluted history. Council member Dale Basham had presented the resolution to be introduced at the September council meeting, but he later withdrew it. True. At the council's October meeting, the same resolution again appeared on the agenda. It was removed after Basham said he had not asked for its return. Ridenour's administration said the return of the resolution to the October agenda, well, it had just been the result of a misunderstanding. Dude, do you know what Ridenour said and what we didn't cover on Monday at all? What he said repeatedly? I played it for a couple of people to hear, and I noticed it on the last run through. Ridenour said multiple times, it's just a timing issue. It was just timing issues. He's not said that in a long time. We literally have a viewer that watches frequently that comments under the name timing issues. And that person picked that name solely because that's what Ridenour says constantly. And I hadn't heard him say those two phrases together in a minute, but he said it the other day, like several times. It's just timing issues. It was just timing issues. It was just a timing issue. Don't worry. We know it was just a timing issue. Dude, that guy is ridiculous. Okay, it goes on. But critics of the Republican mayor's administration expressed alarm. At Monday's meeting, one of those people, a critic of the Republican mayor, one called for the council to conduct a formal investigation of the matter. Who that be? Councilmember Nora Powell, a Democrat, called the October inclusion of the resolution disingenuous. she didn't call this line in this article is disingenuous. Nora Powell did not call the inclusion on the October agenda disingenuous. She called what Ridenour said about its inclusion disingenuous. There's a little bit of a difference. Okay? That's a little bit of a difference. On Monday at the meeting, she offered an ordinance to revise the method used to place items on the council agenda so similar events aren't able to happen again. It was a fail-safe. It was a fail-safe. In a 5-4 vote along party lines, the Republicans on the council declined to introduce her measure. That vote was followed by a tense exchange of comments between Powell and Republican council member Brandon Garrett. Now, I'm disappointed that he didn't say former Democrat turned Republican council member Brandon Garrett. I feel like he should have stated that, but whatever. Garrett maintained the proposed measure is unnecessary, saying each council member had the obligation to make themselves aware of what items would be on the agenda. And it was brought up during the meeting, but I just want to take this opportunity to say to Brandon and his family out there, hey, if you can hear me, as long as you're not in Mexico, hola, if you are. What I want to know is, can Brandon, without getting like all hot under the collar, can he describe it to me again, how what he said would have fixed this? Because if I'm hearing everything that Brandon said right, and I've heard it several times. If I'm using what Brandon is saying, the only way that this could have been different, and the only person that could have done something about it, it would have been Dale Basham doing something, coming out and saying, hey, wait a minute. That's the only way that could have fixed this. And it didn't. So what he was getting all irate about on Monday night was aimed at Dale Basham. I'm sorry, but that's just true. But he didn't want to say that. You know, he's one of those new Republicans. He's got to try to fit in. Listen to this. The issue also prompted the return to the podium of the government critic who had earlier called for a formal council investigation. He, that government critic, suggested some council members were not giving the city your best. Very true. Very true. And he called their response to Powell's measure a chicken shit vote. I love that he put that in there. And I believe that he put that in there because I think he thinks that makes me look bad or something or whatever. It doesn't. I would sign this for people if they wanted me to. I would take my little pen out and I would sign right there by that if people want me to. I stand behind that decision. I stand behind those words. I'll say it again. I'll say it next meeting if they want me to. I'll say it next meeting if they want me to. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy to me. So it's, number one, it's interesting that, you know, he went as far as to quote me, but he's not going to attribute the quote to me. That would be a bridge too far, but he did quote me. And I'm like, if I go to the podium, 4 or 5 times a meeting, I figure if they're going to write something, they've got to cover something that I say. I'm going to go up there and I'm just going to continue saying the political spotlight, the political spotlight, the political spotlight. And then, then that's what they'll have to say. It's just, it's interesting to me that they attempt to spin this in such a way to make those of us calling this out look crazy or bad. And, I don't know. I don't know. I truly don't know. I do want to say I was talking to Brandon, not Garrett, but our Brandon, the political spotlight Brandon. And he and I were talking, and Brandon normally provides some pretty good counsel. And we came up with a plan. So because they're essentially saying that what happened in October was not wrong, that there's nothing wrong by this, nothing wrong happened. Shireen did nothing wrong. Dan did nothing wrong. Basham doesn't even know what he's doing, doesn't know what day it is, what month it is. He just gets up and he's like, am I going to put on the purple clothes or the green clothes or the bright red clothes or the yellow clothes? I think he's got like a yellow, pink, purple, blue, and red. And that, like, his wardrobe is every color of the Sorry board, the little Sorry pieces in the game Sorry. That's how his wardrobe is picked. I want to be red today. I'm going to be purple today. Other than that, I don't think he knows. I don't know what he knows. It's shocking to see how he acts at a meeting. It's insane. So Star Press covered that, thought that was very interesting. Hey, but it wasn't just, I want to see this. They couldn't be bothered last month, but this month it's a critic of the mayor saying something to, yeah. Absolutely. No, Kate, they didn't. That's the end. That's the end of the article. Douglas Walker is a news reporter at the Star Press. Contact him at 765-213-5851 or at dwalker@muncie.gannett.com. That's it. Oh, I'm getting to it, Sir Ballmung. Sir Ballmung. Ballmund. I'm getting to it. So that's the end. Kate. No further information there. It is what it is. That's ridiculous. I mean, look, I'm glad they quoted me. I wish they would have attributed it to me. You know how I feel about that. But that's it. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting someplace, or maybe they're only ever going to ever cover anything that could possibly maybe look good for Ridenour and bad for everyone else. And if it doesn't do that, they're not going to cover it. But so I was talking to Brandon, and we decided that since they ruled that what happened last October and it wasn't a problem, there was no crime, nothing to be looked at, everything. Matter of fact, everything was okay. So okay, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to look into it. It's just a done deal. Well, because of that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through all of the ordinances for the last 2 years, and I'm going to print off a signature page for every council member on this council that's put forward an ordinance. And I'm pretty sure by this point, they've all at least put something forward. It might be hard to find the signature page for a couple of them, but I think I can do it. And I'm going to print off all of these signature pages. And then I think what we need to do is I'm going to start making ordinance after ordinance after ordinance after resolution after resolution after resolution. And I'm going to just start submitting to the clerk's office these resolutions and these ordinances under all of these council people's names, because it's okay to do that. And I think if we look at how we've done in the past, it will have to be file stamped and it will have to be added to the agenda as long as I do it in a timely fashion. And then it will be on the agenda. And then it will have to be read by the reading secretary. And then at that point, they can either vote, put it up and vote on it, which they could always do, which would be great. Or they could say, wait a minute here. Who did this? You didn't put this forward, Mr. Green? And we'll just see how that goes. They can't get me in trouble for it. It's not bad. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything that Shireen Wegley didn't do. I'm just doing the same thing that she did. And I think that would be fantastic because they would just be getting all these resolutions. They would be getting all these ordinances, and they can't tell me no. It's not doing anything bad or wrong. It'll just be a simple misunderstanding. It'll be a timing issue. I meant to talk to Rose Selvey about the resolution that she put forward with my help. I meant to talk to Jeff Green about it. I meant to talk to Sarah Gullion about it. I meant to talk to Brandon and to Jerry. But so we'll see. I will keep you guys on the inside track if I do that. I'll keep you on the loop and let you know, because I think that would be it was last minute, so I'm sure it's fine. Absolutely. Oh, that's just usual. That's the way we usually do things. That's no big deal. So yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be fun. I'll need help. I'll need people to help me come up with the various ordinances and resolutions that we're going to put forward. Like, I think that we want to put forward an ordinance that says for every even year that Ridenhour is in office, for every month longer than 3 letters, he has to hop to work between his house and City Hall with no shoes. So that'll be like my first ordinance. And I'll probably use let's see. I'll probably use Rose Selvey to put that forward. I think we need to put forward a resolution that I'm definitely going to put forward a resolution that gives Kristopher Bilbrey a key to the city and makes him. I'm going to have them stand up and read that stuff about me, the same thing they do every month. Maybe we'll let Dale Basham put that one forward. See what all he has to say about me. And so if you guys have any interesting resolutions or ordinances, let me know, and we can just, the counselors can start putting them forward, whether they're aware of it or not. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. I'm disappointed in the Star Press. I've been kind of taking, the piss of it and making light of it, but it's ridiculous. The Star Press is a joke. I'm glad they put that article in there. Or, no, I'm not. It's stupid. He didn't do a damn thing. If this had been the Tyler administration, they would have made 5 or 6 or 7 articles just about the ordinance or the resolution mix up. It would have been in there, and they would have written it and rewritten it and rewritten it and ran it again and put it in the print, put it online forever. And, because it's not Tyler, it's just nothing. And look, I'm not a big fan of Tyler, man. I was so critical of Tyler. But the fact that we can't say a damn thing about Ridenhour or anybody in his administration is ridiculous. Every dollar of edit spent, the mayor has to match 25 cents. I think you had that backwards. I think you meant every 25 cents of edit, the mayor has to match $1. Yeah. Good. Okay. So that's that. Before we move on and away and out of the city stuff right here, I do want to offer up this little. Wait a minute, is today Wednesday? Woo, it is. Well, we'll look at the Board of Works here in a second. I do want to offer up this little tidbit. This was I found this to be interesting, and I want to talk about this here. Okay, so I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to play it, then we're going to talk about it. So give me a second here. I'll let you see this. Here's the, I guess we don't do the Dream with Dan anymore because he thought, well, I don't need to do it because I just talk. I give him 5-minute little blurbs of bullshit every week, and then I take a couple months off in between. But, I give him this. So we don't need to do the Dream with Dan anymore. I guess I need to send an email and ask, just point blank, where are the Dream with Dans? All right. Here's the Muncie City of Muncie community update for today's date. Let's listen.
Hello, Muncie. Dan Ridenhour here, your mayor. Today is Wednesday. It's November 5th. And it's a beautiful looking day outside. A couple things I want to just touch on. Monday night was the council meeting. That was on November 3rd. And they did approve the initial resolution. There are several steps that have to be followed, but the initial resolution for new fire station number 5, that is the one that's on Tillotson. So currently it's a 1-story station. It has the 2 bays and then has the sleeping quarters on the south end.
The 2 what?
This new station will be on the exact same footprint, and it will be a 2-story one that will have 4 different bays. We'll be able to move the the tower truck back into Station 5. There'll be an ambulance, another regular fire piece of fire equipment, and then an extra piece that will be available for extreme emergencies as well. So it'll be a much larger station. It will separate the living quarters from the fire equipment, and that has been proven to be a cancer risk for firefighters because of all of the firefighting materials that get on there and all of the smoke. So we're excited about that. That's the first step. We're moving this forward, and we look forward to making that happen. It was also voted for in the affirmative at 9-0, so it was unanimous, and we're continuing to move that forward. The timeline on that is still several months before it will begin, and then it'll take a couple of years to build it. In fact, we have to demolish the building, build a temporary structure, which we've already worked out a location with IU Health Ball Hospital. And so the firefighters will go to a temporary location, and then they'll tear down the existing building and then put up this new building. Then we'll move back. So a lot of steps in this one, but it will be wonderful. And this is a station that is in great need of repair. It's been there a long time, and it's the one right on Tillotson by Christie Woods near Riverside. So we're excited about that. Also at that meeting, there was some comments made that I just feel like the information needs to be shared. These comments were not accurate at all. It indicated that one of the council members indicated that there were several department heads, primarily, that were paid extra.
All right, now I want you to listen to this. And listen close to this because we're going to talk about this.
And above and beyond the salary ordinances. Now, I don't know exactly how this happened, but I think that maybe that council member forgot that last April and May, they approved unanimously a new salary ordinance for the year 2025. And we looked up the numbers, and the animal shelter superintendent, when you include the clothing allowance, he's under, when you include a clothing allowance, he's not over, but that was indicated by this person without any proof at that particular meeting. The Channel 60 director, which is our communications director, her pay is well under, but that salary ordinance had the correct pay. We checked with the controller's office after that Monday night meeting. We're just not quite sure why this misinformation and is being put out there. The human rights director, for some reason, there was a claim that they were also paid too much, and it's well under the budget and well under the salary ordinance. So it's just a little confusing as to why this would be mentioned just in answer of a public question, and just kind of accuse the administration and those employees of being paid more than the salary ordinance called for. I think that most likely that council member just was mistaken and forgot that they voted for, as did the other 8 members of the council, for that salary ordinance that was passed in May of 25. And because all of them are within the range of that salary ordinance. So just wanted to clarify that nobody was paid more than the salary ordinance. If we are able to, through some measure, increase somebody's salary, we put it in a new salary ordinance, and that's what we did in April of 25, which was approved unanimously in May of 25. So real excited. Just wanted to clarify that. We felt it was misinformation. We wanted to just make sure people were aware of it. And then we're real excited about the fire station that's coming up on University, near the University on Tillotson. So hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you next week.
Okay. So that was the mayor's comments on this. There was another person's comments or post on this, and they did post this to social media, and I'm going to read this now. And this was posted. This was posted yesterday at almost 8 p.m. at 7:58 p.m. Okay, so I want to read this to you, and this goes along with what we just heard the mayor say. This is from Amber Green, and this comment says, "People are allowed to make mistakes. No doubt I've made my fair share. But taking the microphone and inventing rhetoric to serve a narrative is not a mistake. It's a lie. And a public lie deserves a public correction. If anyone is going to throw around accusations about taxpayer money, they should at least come armed with evidence instead of imagination." And then there are 3 pictures posted. Okay, there are 3 pictures that are posted. And the first picture is an email that starts off, "Clarification regarding salary statements made during Council 11/3 meeting. Council members, during last night's meeting, Councilwoman Powell stated that all of those 4 were paid above, there she's quoting, during last night's meeting, Councilwoman Powell stated that all of those 4 were paid above the maximum salary ordinance, followed by, I'm sorry, I don't have those figures in front of me. To clarify, the 4 department heads referenced were Animal Care Director, Communications Director, Human Rights Director, and EMS Director. As someone who is familiar with my own salary and paycheck history, it was immediately clear to me that, at least regarding my position, that statement was inaccurate. Because no evidence was provided to support the claim during the meeting, I have taken the time this morning, with the assistance from the city's payroll administrator, to verify that 2025 year-to-date totals for the department heads referenced. The figures I located for 3 of the 4 roles do not align with the statement made. The EMS chief's payroll involves overtime, longevity, clothing, allowance, and a termination payout, all of which are not included in the salary ordinance, making that position's exact calculation more complex. However, the other 3 are relatively straightforward, and again, do not support and then the next picture says straightforward, and do not support the claim that was made that they were paid above the maximum. My figures can be seen below. Biweekly, yearly pay based on 2025 salary ordinance, which was unanimously approved by this council. And then the following is this: Animal Shelter Superintendent, $2,379.47 biweekly, $61,866.22 yearly, year to date $52,642.80, $9,517.88 remaining on 4 final pay periods of 2025. Total $62,160.76. Over $2,945.54, but does not account for the clothing allowance. Okay, so that's what Amber put for the animal shelter superintendent. Then she put her department, Channel 60 director, $1,935.71 biweekly, $50,328.46 yearly, year to date $41,032.15, $7,742.84 remaining on the final 4 payment periods of 2025. Total $48,774.99, under by $1,553.47. Human Rights Director, $2,081.99 biweekly, $54,131.74 yearly. Year to date is $51,321.07. Includes payout of a accrued time on the final check. Remaining pay periods do not apply as the position is not currently filled. And then the next the next picture shows EMS chief paid $26,000. No. Paid $2,667.20 base pay per pay period. 21 under 21 under salary ordinance, and then something's marked out. Paid $2,667.41 base pay per period, exact amount of salary ordinance. Given these findings, it appears Councilwoman Powell's statement was based on misinformation. I felt it important, this is Amber talking, not me. I felt it important to make the full council aware since a public claim was of wrongdoing, particularly one presented without evidence, deserves correction. I also understand that I may be an easy target for such comments when I'm the only one of these department heads in the room. That said, if my name or position is going to be used in the future accusations, I respectfully request that the factual information be presented at the same time. A professional working relationship is built on trust, accuracy, and communication, which unfortunately none of which were offered last night during this portion of the meeting. To put it plainly, I would never accuse any member of this council of accepting overpayment from Muncie taxpayers without proof. I would hope the same level of respect is extended in return. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you. And then that is how that was ended. There were then a series of comments that were posted to that. Let me see. I guess there are 4, but I can only see 1. So I don't know what's going on there. I guess I'm blocked by the other 3 people. The one I can see says, some people from the opposition side seem to believe that they have all the answers to every supposed problem. Therefore, they spew when they should just be still. I don't know what Jeff's trying to say there. That's got nothing to do with whatever. Okay, that's fine. So that's being said there. Amber is saying that there. Now I want to go back because I know that a couple people have commented here, and I want to see what is being said here in the comments. Give me a second. So Kate says, so it's a problem when Nora doesn't have figures in front of her, but it's fine for the controller to come to the finance meeting empty-handed. That is absolutely a great point. This administration keeps finding ways to dig holes for Dan to climb out of. Someone get their feelings hurt. Asking for professionalism coming from one who can't spell professionalism. Okay. So I'll say this. I sit here, I have no idea what the deal is with these claims from Nora or the counterclaims from Amber. Amber contacted me about this claim, and Amber told me that she had the payroll accountant, the payroll clerk for the administrator for the city of Muncie, pull all of these claims up and go through them. So I will take it that she's using factual information to make these claims, and I'll give her that benefit of the doubt. It should also be easy for me to get that information from the payroll administrator. It might sound like that information is something that would be private and I couldn't request, but I can request it, and it is a releasable. So I will be putting in a request tomorrow for all of this same information that Amber used to compile Amber's numbers. Once I do that, and once I have the numbers that we can check the math on and we can verify, and it should be something that I should ask for tomorrow, and honestly, I should have it by Friday, because if Amber's already pulled it to look for it, it should be there. And if someone is going to use it to combat something that was said during the council meeting, and I want those same documents, they shouldn't make me wait 6 weeks to get the same documents that Amber had pulled at her fingertips yesterday. So I'm going to get that and I'm going to run it. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to math it. And because I'm not the math genius of our team, I'm then going to send it to Kate and to Brandon, our in-house engineer, and I will have him math it, and I will have Kate math it, and we will look for it. And yes, Alva, you are absolutely right. It is easy to pull up, and I can do that very same thing. However, I want to make sure when I come out with what happens next that I can say not only I went on and used what we used looking through it from the Muncie website, but that I used the exact documents that Amber used, because I want to know that. Because what happens here is, once we have the math that we see from the documents, I will then go to Counselor Powell and I will ask what those claims were, because, so number one, keep Brandon's thing there, star that, because I want to come back to that, because that is a very good point. But yeah, yes and no. So first of all, this claim didn't just get brought up last night. This claim has been being made for the last month. We had 3 or 4 different finance committee meetings where this got brought up in every one of the finance committee meetings. So when Counselor Powell was bringing this up in those meetings, why was the animal director, the communications director, the human rights director, and the EMS chief, why were they not saying, whoa, wait a minute? Wait a minute. What's going on? Why didn't they say that then? And then bringing to the point that Kate just typed up there, and that's the biggie. There is an email out there where Ridenauer sent an email to Counselor Powell, and Counselor Powell said, like, hey, I'm concerned about these things, and these appropriations that they don't seem to be there. And Ridenauer's response was, we checked with the DLGF and we checked with the State Board of Accounts, and they've told us that what we're doing is perfectly legal as long as we bring the appropriations by the end of the year. And we have intended to do that. And we were going to do it in November and December, but instead, because you're making a stink about it, we'll go ahead and we'll bump it up and we'll do it in October. So we'll do it in October and November. But October's agenda came and they didn't do it in October. And then November came, and I, ladies and gentlemen, actually got up in the meeting and I asked a question about these. And I asked a question. I said, hey, is this about the appropriations that you guys were talking about that needed to be fixed? And I was told, no, that this is something different. But when I said that, and you might not be able to hear it in the audio, but when I said it, I got the feeling, not just from Nora, but from several other council members, both Republicans and Democrats, that they fully understood what I was talking about, and that they were fully waiting on that to happen. So, to Brandon's point, first of all, so this is I get where Brandon's coming from. So Brandon says, I love how quickly people want to jump to respond to this irrelevant claim, but no one cares about Vocal Fry Shireen copying people's signatures. Okay. So number one, I get where he's coming from. And I say this thing all the time. People get so mad and so bent out of shape on some of the dumbest shit and will get up and bitch about it. But then they'll leave the whole rest of the year of nonsense to go and no one will say anything about anything. And I'm like, dude, if you guys are mad about this, wait until you find out what they're wanting to do on the taxes. Wait until you find out how much they're wanting to spend on this. Wait until you find out how much we're paying Dustin Clark. Wait until you find out what Dustin Clark and his wife did to the solar T-shirts and the solar deal. Wait until you find out how Dan's doing this. Wait until you find out about flat land resources. Wait until you hear about the till pond. Wait until you hear about the crisis center. Wait until you hear about the communication and the transparency and accountability. And everybody's like, it's just like crickets. Nothing. Nobody says shit about nothing. It's just nothing. I know that's not exactly proper grammar, but you get the point I'm going at there. Okay, so Brandon has a point there. Where I'm going to disagree with Brandon is saying, at the end of the day, I get it. Brandon's point is valid and stands, and I stand behind his point. The one thing I'm going to disagree with Brandon on is, now this is also a serious topic, because number one, if someone is getting paid over, that needs to be taken care of and we need to fix it. If they're not being look, if Amber is 100% right and Nora is wrong, then shame on Nora. And why was Nora bringing this up 4 and 5 meetings in a row during the finance committee meetings? And that's the other thing. There is a lot going on with this Ridenour administration. There's a lot going wrong. There's a lot that has been happening wrong. Okay. There's a lot that has been happening. And Nora has had the upper hand in a lot of situations, but I will say Nora's going to lose it if she starts getting shit wrong and she starts going off the reservation and just saying weirdness and not having facts and not backing it up. She will lose. I've been behind her on this here lately, but I'm not going to stand behind her if she's saying a bunch of dumb shit. And if she's getting a bunch of stuff wrong, I'm going to have to say, wait a minute. So now this comes into one of those situations, again, like the insurance situation, where I've got to say, all right, the council's saying one thing, or Councilor Powell is saying one thing, and the administration is saying another thing. And like the insurance, this is not something that can be looked at politically and we say, well, Republicans see it one way and Democrats see it another way. No. It's math. It's numbers. It's the basic building block of the whole entire universe. I don't care how big a R you got behind your name or how big a D you got behind your name. And I know that there's some weirdness out there with how they do math now and all this, but in the real world, when shit gets serious and hits the road and hits the fan and everything else, 2 + 2 is 4. And there's no other way to look at it. So at the end of the day, is Nora right? I want to hear why Nora thinks there's been a problem. I want to hear why Nora was bringing this up. I want to hear why the administrations can so easily spank Nora's claims. Because one thing I can say about Nora for so long is this has been her area of expertise. And now all of a sudden, if she's getting this wrong, well, we need to know about that. So I'm right now, until I get the math in my hands, I'm giving this one to Amber and to Dan right now. Once we're able to do the math and see what's up, then I'll go back to Nora and I'll ask what's up, and hopefully she can explain it. So to my that's a good question. I don't know that she's been asked a question specifically, but I don't know that she's made I don't know that Nora has made a statement to this. Let me go look. No. As of right now, at least on social media, which is the only way I have to follow Nora, via her Nora Powell from Muncie City Council District 2, which she is pretty responsive on and posts information quickly and routinely. Let's see, Nora's last post was Monday at the council meeting. She posted the council meeting. Oh, that's the other thing. And we're getting ready to move on and talk about the election. But Kate's right. There is definitely an attempt to totally discredit Nora right now. Because if you look at the council, Nora's the leader of the council. I don't care who the president is. I don't care if the Republicans have control. Nora is the mouthpiece of the council, and Nora is the person that is calling most of the shots. Even when the Republicans are doing weird shit, Nora's basically it's Nora and then everybody else is below. Okay. So Dan realizes that. Dan would be a fool to not take shots at Nora. But Dan said he wasn't running again. I just don't think I believe. No. Dan is 1,000% running again. Dan said in 2018, when he first announced his kickoff to run in the 2019 election, Dan said he would do 2 terms. If he was lucky enough to win, he would run for re-election and he would serve 2 terms. Dan said that all throughout 2018. He said it all throughout 2019. He won. He said it in 2020. And sometime about 2021, he started hardcore running for his second term, and he was still saying that he was only going to serve the 2 terms. And then when he won in November of 2023, he was still more or less saying, I'm not going to serve more than 2 terms. And then in February of 2024, just a month after his start of his second term, he made the statement that he would be running for a third term. So he will be running for a third term for Muncie mayor, and that's just that. That's what I'll do there. No, yeah, he's not going to run. If anything, when he's done running for mayor, he would run. He wouldn't run for DC. If anything, he would run for state, state senate or state representative. I will give you guys. Breaking news. I guess breaking news here. Information that we've certainly not talked about before, and information that I don't believe has been put out. Information that I don't believe that's been put out anywhere else. Honestly, I don't think that this has been. I don't think this has been put out anywhere else. So I have been hearing for the last little bit that Sue Arrington will not be seeking another term for District 34, and that the Democrats are planning to run Sarah Gullion in her spot. That's absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane. I don't like Sue Arrington. I'm not a fan of Sue Arrington. She needs to not run. But Sarah gets so anxious at city council meetings, her head about pops off. I don't know that she could do. She does not need to be at the state level. She needs to finish out her term on the council, and then she needs to exit stage left and just go back to having fun being a legal secretary, paralegal, or whatever she is. A nice enough person, but she just doesn't. She's not cut out for. She's too excitable. She's too excitable. So, the breaking news is I've heard that the Democrats are thinking about running Sarah Gullion as their replacement for District 34, and so that's of course in next year's election. So that's what that is. To go back briefly to some comments here. Nice hair. I think you've been here, like you were here yesterday and the day before that. I've had my haircut since like Sunday. What in the hell? Okay, so then what else do we have here? Someone says Dan ? Do we have any folks that have been talking about running for mayor? So if Dan runs for re-election, he won't be primaried. If he's primaried, it'll be by one of these guys that runs, that doesn't ever put out signs, and that works like they do like loading at Myers, or they drive a semi for I don't know, for Frito-Lays, and they don't they're never home, and they don't put out any signs, and it's a paper only candidate. If somebody runs against him, it'll be like that. On the Democrat ticket, I've been thinking that Nora would run against him, but I'm starting to think that that's not going to happen. I think that Jeff Robinson's going to re-challenge him, and that'll be what it'll be. But I'm just telling you, we've got to get through next year's election. We got a lot to get through for next year's election. I'm not even worrying about 2027 yet, but I will tell you, if Dan runs for re-election, he'll be our mayor. He will win. That's what's going to happen. Okay, moving on from there real quick. I want to get back down here. What's everyone's issue with Dan? I mean, he is a decent mayor, or used to be, right? Breaking news. No, Dan, I was 100% team Dan while he was on council, when he was on council in District 2. I thought he was a great council member. Thought he had wonderful points. Thought he was very well thought out. Totally different person than he is now. Matter of fact, during the first 11 months of his very first term, so in his first term, sometime during like the 10th or 11th month, and it comes up on Facebook's memories every now and then. I need to get it. I've screenshot it once before. But I actually made the comment that I would like Dan to run for mayor of Muncie. Made that comment. In 2018, he started talking about running. I got wind of it. We started talking. I was backing him. I was supportive of him. I backed him all of 2018. Then the election was in 2019. I was very supportive of Dan, very pro Dan, pushed him everywhere. I talked to him. We met several times, communicated, talked behind the scenes, interviewed him, had him on the show many times, and was very supportive. Dan won his May primary, which was a heavy primary. There were many candidates. And then he won in November. And he won in November. The day after he won, he called me and he was like, "Hey, I need you to come down here to my office. I need you to video stream this and get this out to everybody." He said, I'm going to do another one of these next week. I want you to come down. He was mayor-elect. He was still a counselor. And I was working with him, thought everything was going to be great. The next week I went down there. We then had a council meeting, and there was a big blow up at the council meeting, and he was doing some very shady shit. And by week number 3, after the election, he had shifted. Now he was no longer candidate Ridenour. He was now mayor-elect Ridenour. And everything that he was promising during his campaign, he immediately gutted and was not doing any of that. And he went into his first day of his first year of his first term as mayor, already on my shit list, already dodging questions, doing things that he said he wouldn't do. Just absolutely. Dan Ridenour has had a shitful 6 years as mayor, and he's been horrible all 6 years. It's just been absolutely horrible. So yeah, he's been horrible. So that's that. Yeah, I don't know what's I don't know what is going on with him, and I don't know I know there's no one that if Dan runs for re-election in 2027, he'll be our mayor again, and we're just gonna have to we just got to get through his term. We got to get to the point where he goes away, and then we'll deal with the fallout there. And I'm assuming that when he goes away, then Nora will be stepping up to the plate, and that'll be another disaster. Okay. Before we move on, we're not going to be too much longer. I just want to go over a couple of quick results, but before we do that, I do want to hit the Muncie Board of Works, and it's just a quick 7-minute meeting, so we'll hit this real quick.
Okay, welcome everyone.
Who Ted's
Roll call,
back,
please, Lacey.
Oh, and I did tell you that man right there, Ted Baker, he had considered running as a Republican in Sue's district for District 34, but I've heard that he has since decided against that because he doesn't want his many different bankruptcies and all of his weird financial shit to come out. So he has a very shaky financial. Everybody wants to say shit about Donald Rainwater. Yeah, take a look at Teddy. Teddy's got some questionable shit in his background, and so I heard he doesn't want that to come out. Whoopsie. So he backed out of running. And I'm now hearing another individual is thinking about running as a Republican. But I'll give you a hint. His first name is Kristopher. That's all I'm going to say for right now. All right. Let's watch this.
Present.
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 We've been given the minutes from the October 29th meeting. If we could have a motion to approve, please.
I move approval of the October 29th minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carried. We have next the Register of Claims. Mr. Craig Wright, City Controller.
Good morning. Sent out the claims yesterday afternoon. Was credit card week, so a few more pages than usual. And we also had the health insurance that hit this week. Just had some a striker cot for EMS, which, as you can see, the totals on those aren't cheap. And the paving, some of the paving from paid to EMB paving from the MVH restricted that is for improvements on Burlington from Lewick to the bridge. And
Boy, was that needed too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll just open it up to any questions you might have.
Okay.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. Hunger in America has long been one of my passions. And I have a bit of a problem when we use between $3,000 and $5,000 worth of tax money for candy. Counting this week's and last week's, that's a sizable amount of money that's going for candy. And especially this week when we have SNAP benefits cut off to probably a lot of the participants who went to that parade, those trunk or treat things. Anyway, I would just like for some consideration being given to not spending that level of money in the future.
Okay.
And probably put a few extra dollars in the dentist's office for all the candy.
Yeah. I just think it's not a necessary expense of tax money.
Yeah. I guess they did have quite a turnout for it. It's what my understanding is.
Dude, she doesn't care, man.
Thank you, Linda. Lola, how about you?
No, thank you.
Okay, I don't have any comments either
Quit talking.
after reviewing them all. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the Register of Claims?
I move approval of the claims for $1,444,757.
But the $500 for spending on candy.
All those in favor say aye.
What the fuck? What?
Amber Green. Thank you, Amber.
Good morning, Amber Green, Director of Communications for the City of Muncie. This is a street closure application for the Light Up Muncie event. This has formerly been known as Light Up Downtown. It was done by the Downtown Development Partnership, and now the city is taking over this event. The street closure will be for the parade, and that closure is going to be from City Hall down Walnut to the roundabout. And then after the parade concludes, so that full closure should be approximately 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. After the parade concludes, we'll just be closing that one block of Walnut downtown around Cannon Commons. This was actually a request from the police department. There's nothing going on in the street, but when we have events like
Homecoming
that, because of the way
parade.
the street is set up, patrons generally think that you can just kind of walk in the street. So we just want to keep it safe. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, Linda?
I have none.
Thank you.
I appreciate the, the safety concern, because that's a lot of people down there.
We're hoping.
Yeah, there will be, you know that.
Yep.
But there's no reason to take a chance there for
Yep,
the
I
simplest.
agree.
And I appreciate the police department, encouraging that. So, okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I move approval of the street closure request for December 4.
Second.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
And then the final order of business is street closure application from Catch Crystals and Curiosities. We have a representative here. Go ahead. If you state your name, please.
Hello, I'm Kat Maceras, owner of Cat's Crystals and Curiosities. We have our 2-year store anniversary coming up on November 11th, and on November 15th, we are hosting a celebration for it. We have invited other local vendors to join us, and we were wanting to close the street to make it more safe and be able to accommodate more vendors. We are looking to close from from Walnut Street to Mulberry Street.
On East Adams.
Yes.
Okay. I have a question, just real quick. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., that's a long time.
Uh-huh.
Are there any provisions for if there are emergency vehicles that need to get through or anything? Is the street going to be completely blocked off, or how?
So it
Dude.
will be blocked off with traffic cones and caution tape. So if emergency vehicles need to get through,
If they need to, they can go down the one block and get around the other block. It's downtown. It's easy. It's easy. Nobody's going to have any, no one. They ask because these people don't know this shit. He doesn't know where it's at. He doesn't understand that they can just go one block or half a block and use the alley. Dude, they'll be all right.
I
there gonna
could
be
leave one lane of the street.
Well, just as long as they
Or-
can get through, that's.
Okay.
I don't want.
Are we gonna get the question? Is there gonna be alcohol? She didn't ask Amber if there's gonna be alcohol at that event. It's a city event. I'm sure there wouldn't be alcohol, but there should be. Are we gonna get? Is there alcohol? Let's find out.
Permanent blocks on.
Okay.
Or whatever, okay. Okay, Linda, or.
I have no other question.
I'm just curious how many vendors will be taking part.
So we'll have vendors on the sidewalk and in the street itself. And so there will be around 30.
Good, great.
Okay.
Congrats on 2 years.
Thank you.
9 a.m. to 9 p.m., are you going to be using it that whole time? What's your,
So the load-in time would be, for vendors to set up, would be from 9 to 11, and then from 7 to 9 would be their tear down, and then the actual event itself would be 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
okay. So there will be wiggle room, they may get done earlier or whatever, you'll just open it back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Do you have a motion to
Yeah,
approve?
I move approval of the street closure application. Second.
Okay. Do you have any comments or questions from anyone? Okay. Having none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We'll be signing a document there for you to pick up just shortly, okay? So
Okay.
just wait out. Do you have any other order of business? Okay, well, having none, the meeting is adjourned.
Whoops. Yeah, they have all that. She's got all that. They just didn't read everything. They rarely do. That meeting normally is over in 3 minutes or 4 minutes, if that. They generally spend about $1 million, $1.5 million, maybe $2 million in a 3-minute window, no questions. Dong dong. Okay, so that was that. I'll keep following what's going on. I got a couple of other things with the City of Muncie over the next couple of days I'm going to be looking into, and a couple of different things. But hey, before we leave here for this night, I just obviously want to cover. Yesterday was the last couple of days have been busy here locally for a couple of different things, but one of the things it wasn't busy for here, obviously, was an election. Yesterday was November 4th, Tuesday, November 4th. And while we didn't have elections here in Muncie or Delaware County, or in our districts or our townships or the state, while we didn't elect people to go to Washington, D.C., there were elections elsewhere around the United States. And very, very weird, strange things happened. So, look, I don't think anybody's surprised. Mandani won in New York. They said that it was like, I mean, just a complete blowaway. I think that everybody, if you didn't see that coming, I honestly question what you've been watching and what you've been looking at, because it's just the state of what New York is. A lot of people say, well, is this going to have any effect on what goes on in 2026 in Indiana? No, it's not going to have any effect on what goes on in 2026 in Indiana. We are not running any candidates of any value, left or right or left, up or down, north or south. I am hearing that there are a number of constituents. Excuse me. There are a number of incumbents that are not going to be seeking re-election for both the state house and state senate. And I know that has to have the HRCC and the leadership in the state senate a little shaky. It's not enough to make a difference. That's the thing that we always say here, right? Is say if you get, a good 10 wins, you're still not doing anything to move the needle. You might be able to get in and do a little bit, and you might make some noise, but you're not, at the end of the day, going to move the needle at the state house with 10 wins. Even if it was like real, solid effort and you really took it, it's going to need a lot more than that. And we're just not, we're not connected enough here in Indiana to pull that off yet. I don't know what we're going to need to happen. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I think that, what happened in Virginia, we lost the Democrat won the governor's race in Virginia. And New Jersey, I think New York, New Jersey, and Virginia were the big ones that I was watching, and it's sad. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next year for people in those areas. Just an absolute shit show. Indianapolis is a disaster. It's going to be interesting to see what happens down there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here in the state of Indiana with this redistricting. We are going to start the redistricting talk on the I guess it'll be the 3rd of December or the 1st of December. The 1st of December. And so you know, I still don't think they have the votes to pull that off. And I don't know what's going to happen there. And I don't know what I'm hoping for. I don't know if it would be better for them to do it and it be a disaster and it just totally screw Braun up, or if it to not happen when that be a total disaster and that will screw Braun up. I don't know. I guess time will tell. The organization day, I just now realized that I have it circled on my calendar. I'm like, why do I have this circled? Organization day for the State House is November 18th, and that'll be easy for me to remember. That's my younger brother's birthday. So that will be the organization day for the next session. They're going to run, this shows you how not powerful Braun is. So Braun called to have a special session, and he wanted them to get in there, and he said it has to happen by mid-November. We have to have this ironed out by mid-November. And then he said, well, I want them to get in there, and I want them to go to work, and I want them to be there by the 3rd of November, and I want them to start working. Well, I guess they realized, the leadership of the House and the Senate realized that they wouldn't be able to do it between the 3rd and the 18th. It's going to take longer than that. And the reason it's going to take longer than that is because it's going to be an argument and a battle and a disaster because they don't have the votes. So instead, they kicked the can down the road a little bit further, and they said, well, what we'll do is we'll come to work 2 weeks early in December, and that'll, I guess, allegedly save the taxpayers money. I don't really know because they're still coming to work 2 weeks early. Okay. So, why is Braun looking like Homer Simpson now? He's building it. Yes. I don't think that we're going to lose a supermajority. I don't think that. I don't think there's enough Democrats that's going to swing that. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think we're closer maybe to some disruption to that, or to the numbers not being as high, but I still don't think that they're going to, I don't think that the Democrats here are, again, I think our biggest people to battle here aren't the Democrats. Our biggest people to battle are the idiots that claim to be Republicans, or the Republicans that are supposed to be conservative, but they aren't. The people that I'm most mad about in government right now are the Republicans. As a Republican leaning, as a libertarian leaning conservative leaning libertarian, I'm not mad at a bunch of Democrats. I mean, Hogsett's an idiot. That is what that is. I'm mad at a bunch of Republicans because they're the ones letting me down the most. Kind of on this same thing, breaking news that came out today, and this is from today. Kind of interesting. Don't freeze up on me. I knew you were going to do it, you bastard. Hold on. I'll have to get it over here. Give me a second. This is why I come prepared. Okay, we'll do it here. Oh, look at this. Your device ran into a problem. Of course it did. Listen to this. In November 5th, this was an article that came out. This is from the Indiana Citizen. Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith received a written reprimand from Senate Pro Tem Roderick Bray in February after lawmakers complained about his X posts, Twitter, and uncommon behavior presiding over the Senate, including incidents involving Beckwith's use of AI glasses. His former senior advisor, Erin Sheridan, told the Indiana Citizen. She said that Bray and his senior staff pulled Beckwith aside to Bray's office off the Senate floor and presented the letter as both a warning and an attempt to help Beckwith course correct just weeks after taking office. Senator Bray was very professional and down to earth, Sheridan said. She goes on to say, they said, we want to make sure that you're succeeding here, but we can't allow this. Instead, Sheridan said Beckwith dismissed the concerns outright. The lieutenant governor basically said, too bad, so sad. I'm going to continue behaving this way. Get used to it. And Sheridan said, I just about died. It was unheard of. You're the lieutenant governor sitting in front of leadership, receiving a written reprimand about your behavior. They're trying to help you, and you're displaying this flippant attitude. A second source familiar with the matter who requested anonymity, citing fear of retaliation, confirmed that the meeting between Beckwith and Bray and members of both Republican officials' staffs occurred. On October 23rd, the Indiana Citizen filed a public record request with the Lieutenant Governor's Office under the Access to Public Records Act, which Beckwith staffer later acknowledged receiving. An inquiry was also made to Bray's office, but the General Assembly has broad authority to exempt itself from disclosure under the state's open record law. Cue Brandon Rudd. Brandon Rudd knows all about that, as we've battled that and battled that and battled that here. These assholes can exempt themselves from so much crap, and they say, oh, yeah, we don't get to give that to you, and there's very little we can do. That's the reason they were fighting so hard to gut the public access counselor, because Luke Britt was not a fan of what they did, and they didn't like Luke, and there was a big battle between them and Luke, and that's the reason Luke's not there anymore. So it's a horrible situation. Although I will tell you, I am starting to get used to Jennifer Ruby, and I'm starting to have a little bit of a relationship with her. Like professional, obviously, is what I mean. A professional relationship with her. And I'm starting to understand how she operates. And I think we're gonna get through it. I think we're gonna be okay. I think she's now realizing, like, I'm not somebody just calling and bugging her. One of the things I can say is she does follow the program. So hello, Jennifer, if you're watching or you're listening. I appreciate what you guys doing. I didn't realize, I've said it on this program, I did not realize that when she took over with no staff. It was just her. And so it was just her for so long, so I guess I understand some of the delay in things. And I think she's worked from that, and I think she's doing all right. So just FYI. Going on, though, in this article, neither Beckwith's office nor Bray's office provided the written reprimand or responded to multiple requests for comment. Sheridan, who served as Beckwith's senior advisor before being fired in July, sat for nearly 6 hours of interviews with the Indiana Citizen over 3 days to detail her experience in her 6 months on Beckwith's staff. Let us help you. Sheridan said the meeting and subsequent letter centered on Beckwith's behavior on the Senate floor, and also addressed his use of recording-enabled artificial intelligence-enabled glasses, At the time, Beckwith had frustrated lawmakers by posting on social media during active floor sessions. Sometimes members and presiding officers who are expected to wait until proceedings conclude before commenting publicly considered it a breach of decorum. Sheridan explained that she had been regularly present on the Senate floor during the session to support Beckwith as he adjusted to his presiding duties. I couldn't let this guy go to the Senate floor without somebody representing him and being there for him. She said somebody had to be there with experience. She said senators later took a vote to allow her to remain during proceedings on the condition that she did not participate, of course. They actually put me all by the Democrats, which is hysterical, Sheridan said. I didn't have a formal role. I was there to support Micah and to learn what I could and build relationships. I knew it was a privilege. I wasn't elected. They were, so I tried not to react or participate. She recalled that it was because of her seat near the Democrats that Senator Greg Taylor, D. Indianapolis, approached her with Beckwith, posted on X prematurely about a bill's passage during a debate. Sheridan said Beckwith had posted that the measure had passed before the official vote was concluded. An X post that came during the debate over Senate Enrolled Act 289, the anti-DEI bill, which would later draw national attention to the Hoosier state when Beckwith defended the legislation by calling the 3/5 compromise a great move, and continued to double down on that stance in the weeks that followed, prompting widespread backlash. He had tweeted that it succeeded before it had, Sheridan said. Senator Taylor looked at me and was like, what is he doing? Senator Bray took over. It became a big argument, she said. Senator Michael Young went up there and argued Beckwith should be able to do what he wants, but the protocol was you just didn't do that. At the time, Sheridan said people at the State House had begun to take notice of Beckwith wearing what appeared to be Google-style AI smart glasses, camera-enabled eyewear capable of recording during meetings and around the State House. Sheridan recalled that she first realized the glasses were recording when Beckwith showed her a short video of herself that had been captured from the device. She said she had confronted him directly, asked whether he had been recording in session and during private meetings, to which he replied, don't you just assume you're always being recorded? Sheridan said she immediately warned a handful of legislators and staff to assume that any meeting with Beckwith could be recorded because she feared it would irreparably damage their trust in her and in the office she represented. I did not want that to be a reflection on me, she said. That would destroy my career. To find out that they were being recorded was appalling to me. I knew that I couldn't be part of that administration, but I had decided I was going to make it through the session. Sheridan said after the meeting in Bray's office, she raised concerns about the reprimand with other members of the Beckwith staff, and specifically Chief of Staff Sherry Ellis, but those were dismissed. They wanted nothing to do with it, and they thought it was funny, she said. They said, this is their way of bullying us. And I said, I don't have that impression. It feels like this is their way of helping you. Ellis did not respond to the Indiana citizens' request for comment. Former state Senator Luke Kinley, who served the Senate for 25 years and chaired the Budget Writing Appropriations Committee before retiring in September 2017, said he could not recall another instance of Senate leadership issuing a written reprimand to a lieutenant governor. Kinley said that he believed any tensions were probably the result of the adjustment period, but unlike anything he had heard or seen in prior administrations. He's the first person elected lieutenant governor in my memory who hadn't already served in the State House, Kinley said. Most of them came in knowing the legislative process and what the duties of their presiding officer were. Micah came in as an outsider, and I think there was some give and take early on about what the role actually was. Sheridan said she viewed the letter as an effort by Senate leadership to maintain professionalism. I didn't consider it a reprimand as much as a let us help you, she said, but we want to cover our ass. Beckwith, a conservative pastor from Noblesville, is known for his self-proclaimed Christian nationalist views and frequent social media commentary on religion and politics. He rose to prominence, I don't really care about all that. Sheridan was more than 2 decades of experience in Indiana state government. We all know that. We've talked about all that. I highly recommended you for this position. Okay, I don't care about all that. Okay, so that's basically the rest of it there. Look, there's got to be decorum. I mean, I think an elected official is different than me. Look, when I'm in a government building and doing things, yeah, you should probably assume that I'm recording. I'm going to record meetings and things like that, like city council meetings and other interactions with elected officials, because I don't trust them. If there's protocol and decorum and the other people are entering into this agreement, I think that he should follow that. I also am okay with him. Look, I was okay with the fact that Beckwith was an outsider and was trying to break through, or allegedly break through, what was the establishment, bullshit. But then he became so much a part of it, and then still kept doing stupid shit. It's just so wild. I still hold to my belief that this man will not see out his full term. I still don't believe that he will stay in as his full term as lieutenant governor. I think that something will happen, and that will be the end of that. I just don't see, and I just don't see that happening. So that's that. Let's see here. I'm looking to see what's in the comments. So, all right, folks, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, and we'll be back tomorrow. That'll be the end of the week, and we'll have a show lined up. I'm working on a couple of different things for tomorrow, and we'll have to see what that happens. I'm also working on, I submitted a record request today on something. It's kind of like the situation with the child abuse material that the son of the preacher that's a mentor of Beckwith is. It's kind of like that. The topic of what I'm talking about is not specifically political, but there are some serious political undertones and ramifications to what we find out. And it is very much in the same vein. It's not child abuse, but it was a situation where somebody that was not political was the subject of a police investigation. And because of who this person was, because of this person's last name, who the father was, and because of the names that this person continued to throw out, I'm hearing from sources that the police dealt with him differently. I'm hearing that the police handled it in a way that they couldn't have if it were anybody else. They shouldn't have if it was anyone else or him. And so if that's the case, we got to find out why, because that's a problem. And there's definitely some political undertones to this. So I can't really say more right now until I get some police documents. So I've got record request in. Hopefully I should know more about this soon, but we've got some big things here in Delaware County, something going on here in Delaware County. So we've got some big things, and we will keep you posted on that, as well as what's going on at the State House with this redistricting and everything else that's happening. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow, episode 553 tomorrow. And you guys have a good one. Take care. Good night. God bless. Goodbye.